Hi, everybody. This is Pam. I'm the messenger of love. Welcome to another fun night with spirits. We're going to be bringing in a lot of different spirits tonight. Two that are already present, I know for sure, are Lucille Ball and John Ritter. And at the end, we're going to bring in a couple other surprise spirits. So we'll see who's going to come in there. And we're also going to talk about not only love energy, but the idea of heart coherence and how we integrate our brain and our hearts together to, tap into how our emotions are shifting things in our thoughts and how that works together as a whole. So if you're joining tonight, go ahead and join in the chat and you can tell me where you're from. And if you have any questions at any time, feel free to put them in the chat and I will look at them from time to time. We'll ask Spirit for the answers that you're seeking. And we're just going to keep talking and I'll be moving through everything where we're bringing in their messages. And then we're going to maybe tap into some other deeper things. We may do something at the end where they have us do a little short meditation or breathing session. So tonight, one of the first things I want to mention is I have a lot of synchronicities today. I was listening to different songs just randomly. I wasn't even really trying to listen to a certain type of music or anything like that. I just had music playing in the background. And when I was doing that, I noticed that as I was receiving messages, it was tying into the messages. So some of the words started to repeat, which happens a lot when I'm communicating with spirit. There's a lot of synchronicities. And we see that in our lives as well. Like we see a lot of repeating messages and words, numbers, like if you see 111, 222, those are angels and spirits trying to communicate with you, maybe help you to awaken and get to a different elevation of your energy, a different frequency. So tonight we're going to be talking about those synchronicities that I found through the music and also our heart coherence and how there is this integration of energy. So one of the first spirits that came to me tonight was Lucille Ball. And she was just talking about a little bit about how, she was kind of being humorous at first and talking about how she said she got the last laugh and I died my way, or maybe I just lived, is what she said. So she's trying to show how we are here, and we see ourselves in the physical body going to the other side as, okay, we've left our body, we say we've died and that person is deceased. But then what she's trying to say is, but did I die, or just am I just still living in a way, in a different form, in a different essence, in a different frequency? And so that's what she was trying to focus on, is how we can tap into spirits and angels and understand that connection even when we're here on the physical plane. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm going to be talking to spirits. If you're joining late, just go ahead and put your question in there, or let me know where you're from, and I'll get to it as soon as I can. So right now we're talking with Lucille Ball, and she talked about how her humor, she said it was kind of what she described as is very interesting, the way she said it. And this does remind me of her personality and the way that she came across. She said her humor was kooky, is what she called it. So it was a little different. But she says, even though it was in that way, she says it did make you laugh. It did make you laugh. So see, that was kind of the purpose of that type of humor, and helping us to raise our vibration through laughter and through, engaging in comedy and, watching things or talking to people in a way that we laugh more. She says, I didn't mind being the butt of every joke because that was my job. And the reason I came to the earth was to do this. That was her life's work. And so this is why, her path led in that direction, and why it came so easily to her, because she was coming here to shine her light in that way. And she even said she's really funny about her experience both on the earth and more in the afterlife, and being in the spiritual world and being in that essence. She's talking about how she says, I'm still relevant. She goes, I'm still relevant because comedy never dies. And see, this is how she's tying in this concept of, we're eternal, we're eternal lights that keep on shining bright, and we're just in different frequencies, different dimensions, we're just moving into a different essence. We're not in the physical existence. And so she says, let them know that you know, they can understand that that form that she's talking about never dying. It's just like if you're a caterpillar and you're changing into a butterfly, so you're changing into a different form. So that's what she's saying, is when you are leaving your body from the earth and you're going to the other side, you're just shedding one form to the other. And so you're not changing anything about your essence and who you really are as a soul and all of that. You're just becoming more in a different frequency of, you know, maybe that light source more. So that was one of the things that she mentioned a lot about. Yeah, I see your comment there. Do you have a question about, you said California is heavy on your mind to move. Are you saying you want to move to California? Or you're just talking about the energy there? I have a comment in the chat, so that's what I was referring to. Leslie, are you in California right now? I couldn't remember where you were. Anyway, right now, if you're just joining, you can join in the chat, and if you have any questions for spirits, anything you want to know about your path, you can put the questions in there. But we're going to keep talking about different things about heart energy, you know, the energy of love, and how we can understand that more on our earth plane, and how we can make shifts and things like that. So we're also going to talk about songs. There's some synchronicities with songs. So one of the songs that I heard was called Beautiful Life, and it was talking about it feels so good to be alive. So I thought that was interesting, because they're trying to like really focus in on how we can bring more of that feeling of being fully alive here. Like not just, okay, I feel, yeah, I'm alive because I'm in my body, but just how can we bring our energy up to that elevation and feel like we're really connected to what we're supposed to be doing, and have more of that feeling of doing stuff that aligns with us more and getting into that heart alignment. Okay, you're asking, so I have someone asking a question about La Jolla for California. So you're thinking about that. Okay. So one of the things I notice is sometimes when I get a sense of having to travel somewhere to a different city, or, you know, to go to a place where there's, you know, a different group of people, or just even to move somewhere, I'll start getting it repetitively. So if you're getting that feeling that you keep feeling drawn to something, then I would follow that. I would start to see, okay, well, let me try that and see where that goes. Like, let me go visit, let me check it out. If it's something that you may just be called there sometimes to be in an area, because I know I've been called to be in a certain location to maybe kind of shift frequencies a little bit, or tap into that earth energy that's right there. So if you feel called to go there, I would go there and see what it feels like, and then see how that leads to the next decision for you. Yeah, if you're feeling really strongly drawn to something, that is definitely somewhere you need to be. And you just have to go check it out to see if it's something you feel like it's long-term, or if it's just a place to visit and be there for some particular reason. Sometimes that happens to me too, when I'm supposed to cross paths with somebody. So there's a lot of different things that go into it, but I would definitely follow that. That feeling that it's like a magnetic pull that you will feel to go somewhere. And so they're just telling you that you're needed there at this time. Awesome. So it looks like you're manifesting something in that location. So that's good. I would definitely follow that. The more things repeat, the more it's just confirmation of what we're tapping into for the next part of our lives. So we start to see that right before we shift and do all of those things. Yeah. You're getting into an alignment, is what it sounds like, with where the next part of your life is headed. So I would follow that. So in this song, Beautiful Life, I'm going to talk about that, how it talked about feeling good to be alive, and, you know, just feeling like we get this energy, this elevation from just feeling what that is on the earth, tapping into the spiritual world, like we're getting our light like infused with more energy so that we can do the work that we do. And it talks about not, like, don't wake me up from this feeling of this beautiful life. Like, I want to just keep feeling that. And so we're going to feel that here, and we're going to bring in that energy. And then when we cross over, we're going to feel it even more. It's going to be even more of a pure energy, like all of the things that we worry about in the physical world that are more into the material things or just challenges that we face, that'll all kind of go away. And we'll be healed when we go over to the other side and feel more of that beautiful life, if you will, a different version of a life that's more energetic. So if you have any questions, if you're just joining right now, you can put the questions in the chat. I'm going to be tapping into a couple of spirits. So I was talking to Lucille Ball. I'm going to start talking to John Ritter now. There's a few others that are going to come in, and we're going to talk about heart coherence, kind of the balance and integration between the heart and the brain, basically. So when I was talking to John Ritter, he was really funny because he kind of sat in a way, and I observe them and I see them in certain forms and how they look with their clothing, and they might be sitting in a chair and different things like that. And so he was sitting down and he was just kind of observing in a way and smiling. So I thought it was interesting because he presented himself a little bit different. And he said he wants to speak to y'all directly through me. So we're going to let him do that. But there were a couple of things that he mentioned that I thought we would talk about first because it was really interesting. So he said, you all think I died too young, but I didn't. He said, he was talking about, when you have like your final curtain call, then you just go with that. You just follow your heart to the next thing. He says, it's okay, really. It's really great over here. I can see everything now, and knowing is so much more than what he experienced in this world. And he says, it's like if you were to take in the earthly plane what you know into a tiny glass. He called it like the tiny glass of life, what we know, right? And then if you go to the other side, it would be so different. It would be so much more expansive than that. It's like you're drinking through this tiny glass on the earth of what you know and what you are able to connect to. But when you go over there, it's like so much bigger than the glass. So he says, just be aware of that you are not fully in your knowing, but there's a lot of things that you'll be awakened to. But your perspective will change when you go to the other side. He says he has a different perspective. He says, he also talked about, he was giving me like a little image of his fingers, and he was showing like, love isn't this big. He says it's this big and more. And that's what he was trying to show with the size, the expansion of consciousness and energy. And so that's, it's hard for us sometimes to really understand completely like the imagery, the feeling of what the other side is like, but they're just trying to show that it is so much more of there. But also we can bring that here. We can still have that here too, that expansion. It's just kind of allowing it, because a lot of times in our lives, things happen that make us go down to this tiny amount of love, because we're getting into situations where maybe something comes at us and we want to shut down and we don't want to deal with it. And then we don't realize that we're still in that place of not being completely open. And so as we're not open, not being expansive, we really aren't going to draw in all of the things that we really desire, because we're not allowing it. We're kind of inadvertently shutting down to not allow everything in, but it's kind of a protective mechanism. And it's just something that you can work through as you tap more into your heart space. And, if you do meditations and do things to kind of slowly heal it, it can shift more to where you will open up again. And I just want you to know that even if something happens to you, don't let it, ruin your life. Don't let it ruin your whole life where you just basically shut down and don't want to have any other experiences. Learn how to let that go and release so that you can open up again, because they want to bring you in more love and joy in your life. So we're going to be talking about a few more messages from John Ritter, and he's going to bring in a message directly to us. If you're just joining in the chat, you can put a question in the chat and I'll try to get back to it, or comments, or tell me where you're from. And he said also, he was talking about, so John Ritter was talking about the expansion of love being really big. And he said, hugs are healing, aren't they? So he was bringing up a lot of stuff about, you know, just the small things that we can do to expand on that. He says, don't forget to hold the sparkle in your eye and to tune in to what puts that there for you and what puts a silly grin on your face. What gives you hope and love to the depths of your soul. I really felt his energy strong when he was talking about that. I think he lived his life in a way that he allowed that to be true. You know, he allowed things to be a little bit lighter and just kind of see it differently. And what did make him happy? You know, what was he following that would bring him that, put that sparkle in his eye? And so he wants people to realize it's really simple. It's not that hard to get into a place where you just find things in your life that mean a lot and that will bring you that just extra little something. Because why, you know, live your life from a place of fear and worry and anger and all these things? It makes it so much harder. And when you get stuck in those energies, it's interesting because what it does is it causes a lot of resistance. And then in that resistance, you know, you're fighting things a lot, and that feels like such a struggle. But it's interesting is when you let go and then you allow things to be different and you allow healing to come in and you just say, okay, I'm going to let the universe, I'm going to let, you know, the source help me. I'm going to let my angels help me. It's a lot easier. It's like they want to help more. They want you to feel like you're supported and you don't have to try so hard at everything. And there is a divine timing to things as well. And so let me go ahead at this time and let John come through and give us a quick message. He's going to speak through me. And then after that, I'm going to go back and we're going to talk about heart coherence. So if you're just joining, you can go ahead and put comments in the chat. And I'm going to start bringing in a message from John Ritter directly. He's going to speak through me. We're going to see what else he has to say. He just kind of wants to communicate to y'all. And think of it when he's talking to you like heart to heart. So he's really trying to connect you. And he really wants you to know that if you feel something in your space as he's talking out, that to know you are feeling his presence where you are. He will make his presence known because he's a very strong energy and he has the ability to connect and be closer to the earth and have us all feel that. Now I'm here. I'm here with you. I'm really here. It's amazing, isn't it? I get to step into your space, into your living room, into your dining room, wherever you are, and I'm right there with you. We are all connected in this way. There is no separation. And it matters not where you are from or what you do. You know, you see a celebrity in the way of being different, untouchable. I'm not like you in some way. I must be superhuman. But maybe we're all able to have these super senses, this light that brightens up a room, that causes your heart to glow brighter and brighter, and you to experience a lighter version of life that brings you so much happiness that you forget about all the things that didn't go quite right. Whether you were driving on the freeway and you were stuck in traffic and you didn't like it so much because you were running late. Or maybe somebody said something to you and it hurt you. It offended you. You didn't like it. It happens. It's life. It's not meant to be perfect. It's meant for you to live fully, to learn how to be good to each other, how to connect and help each other. You learn about yourself as a unique being, and you open up your creativity and your beautiful gifts, but then you also reach out to other people. You know, you have your friends, you have your groups that you're a part of. And when you're doing that, you're building that collective energy. To have more of that lighter energy, to have it flowing through your earth plane more. So know that even when you feel that you are alone, you are not alone. You are all connected, and everything you feel, others can feel too. So what if you all, right now with me, gathered your energy, and no matter what happened to you today, or this week, or last month, or 10 years ago, what if you just allow right now for that energy to be released, to let go, and instead, let's gather more love in your heart and allow that light to flow through. And as you're doing that, it's feel like you're laughing inside your heart like a little kid, like you're playing, doing your favorite activity, and you're just laughing and giggling and having fun. Feel that in your heart. What brings you that feeling? Let's all gather that today together. We're going to build it up. We're going to share it among the group. And then as we're building it up, we're going to share it with the world. We're going to change the world. And I can help you do this because I know how to tap into that frequency and send it to you. You know, it's like when you receive an email. When you receive a text message, you're receiving something that's giving you an energy. So I can do this too, and other spirits can. And they will come around you and help you at different times. And when you call on angels and spirits, your spirit guides, whatever you feel called to tap into, you will gather and build that energy, and it will become stronger. And you will become more in your full power and supported. So don't be afraid to use this gift that you have. Just ask for the guidance, and it will be there for you. Now, after this evening, what I want you to do is I want you to find something in your life that'll help you to laugh again, to find your joy again. Just bring in one new thing, whether you do it tonight or tomorrow. I want you to start doing it and keep doing it when it feels good to you so that you can change your life and live it to the fullest until your last moment on earth. And then when you get to the other side, you'll look back and you'll know you did what you came here to do, and you had a good time at it too. Thank you for bringing me into your space, into your heart. I want to send you much love, blessings, and everything that's in your heart may come true. It is for you. Okay. Coming back now. All right. So that was a message from John Ritter. Very good message there that had a lot of strong connections with all of us. And I felt that very strongly. You know, as much as he's funny, he, I think, went to more of like a serious version of what he really wanted to say. But it's funny, when he first talked to me earlier, he was adamant that he didn't want me to just take notes about what he was saying. He wanted me to have him go live. He says, I want to go live. So I thought that was funny that he said that. So I did. I was like, okay, we'll see what happens. And so I trusted, and see, as I'm trusting, I'm allowing spirit to come through and do the work that they need to do. You know, I don't know sometimes where it's going to go. I just kind of let it be what it is. And when you do that in your life, when you let go and just let things be spontaneous at times and just easier, just kind of flow with things, you never know what can happen. It could be something different than what you really were thinking the outcome could be. So it allows more magical things to happen. You know, it allows things to be, you know, even more elevated, even more connected to your heart. So if you're just joining in the chat right now, I've been talking to some, you know, just a few spirits. There's all different ones that are going to come through. We talked to Lucille Ball and John Ritter, and there's a few others that are still going to come through. They'll be funny at times, sometimes serious, sometimes they want to really talk about energy. They're all different things that they like to talk about. And we're also going to talk about right now is heart coherence. And this is something that just came to me because I was listening to music, and somehow this came into my thoughts at the same time that I was listening to a song. And so I thought, let me think about that more. Let me see where that's going. And so I began to get information about it, and I, you know, looked up a few things, but then I wanted to hear what spirits were telling me about it too. I want to get kind of more of a clear understanding of it. So one of the things to know about heart coherence is it comes from a place of when we have positive feelings. So we talk about positive versus negative feelings, and really the difference between that is just the way that we focus on certain things. Like if we feel happy about something, then it becomes a positive feeling, and if it's, or energy. If we are feeling angry about something or anxious, then it becomes more of a negative feeling or energy. But please understand, there's no technical version of a real negative energy. It's just that we're putting that frequency in there by the way that we feel, or that things that happen around us cause us to feel that way. And so that's when the vibration changes in that direction. So when you're in a feeling of anger or anxiousness, then you're what they call incoherent state. So that means you're not really in alignment. And like it talks about how your brain and heart have this communication system in a way to where it's like one is feeding the other, and it's kind of back and forth, and it's almost hard to say, you know, where that begins and ends, but there's a harmony that's needed between those two places to actually get things to flow better and for things to be more in a state of well-being. So one of the things that's interesting is when you have positive emotions. So if you're feeling really good, like maybe a lot of things happen that day that are making you happy. So when you're in that emotion, then that strengthens that coherence. And so there's a better communication. So think about it this way. If you wanted to receive guidance from spirits, and maybe you were tapping into something, maybe you were trying to be creative and you wanted to use that ability to tap into that, it would be stronger if you could get into that positive emotion to get that coherence to come through, and you would have that connection between your brain and your heart a little bit better. More synchronized is what it is. It's more of a music that kind of plays between your brain and your heart. And so there is this way of this synchronization that's happening. Now, also when you're in coherence, you have an adaptation that can happen a little easier, and a lot of changes that will happen that are, you know, like when you have things that happen in your life and you know there's something that needs to change, it's harder to do when you're not in coherence and you're not synchronized. It's easier for you to adapt and allow this when it's actually, you know, in that balance. Now I want to show y'all something. Somebody showed up tonight, my cat. You never know what's going to happen. I guess he's trying to get us into our heart alignment. So there you go. He wants to make an appearance. So I guess he's going to try to sit with me, but we'll see if he's going to be calm and sit here nicely through the whole thing. He loves to be on camera. He's always meditating with me. So he's made his appearance in several interviews that I've done. So it's one of those nights that the cats want to be around. Okay, so we're talking about heart coherence and being synchronized. And there is this way of our energy kind of aligning between our brain and our heart so that we can make better decisions and have better thoughts. If you're just joining into the in this event right now, if you want to put your question in the chat, or if you have a comment or anything at all, just let me know, and you can go ahead and put that in there, and then I'll come back to it in a minute. We're just talking about heart coherence and how our thoughts and emotions are affected by how this works with energy. So one of the things that came up when I was talking to spirits about it is how they said that it's like we have these organized thoughts. So we start to organize our thoughts, and then we have these feelings, which are a little bit more disorganized because they're kind of going in different directions. And then it comes together in a way where it creates, and they describe it as what they say is light bubbles, and then they radiate out into these light rays that then the feelings will cause that to either vibrate lower or higher depending on what our feelings are, and then it directs our thoughts and our focus more. So it's a lot of different pieces that go into it, and it's like one builds on the other, but then they all come back together. And so just think of it kind of like the figure 8 with infinity, and how that goes back and forth, and how that is affected. So your feelings and your thoughts all interconnect in this coherence, and one can produce something, or the other can go back and forth to the other one. So if you're feeling positive in your feelings, then this can change your thoughts, right? And if you're feeling positive in your thoughts, that can change your feelings. So both are affected, and they kind of like balance each other out. Oh, my cat's name. I forgot to mention my cat's name, and he's back again. Hello. His name is Muffin. Yep. So he likes to hang out with me a lot. He helps me meditate quite a bit, actually. It's one of his favorite things. And he's very talkative, so he may take over because he's part Siamese. So Siamese cats love to talk, and so he's always answering me and, trying to, talk when I'm talking and things like that. So anyway, coherence, when we're talking about that again, they're saying it begins with a thought and it ends with a feeling, but they said, but not so much ends as it begins another pathway. So it just keeps doing that loop with the infinity symbol. So that's heart coherence. And now one of the things that I'm going to do right now is, if you have any questions, I'm going to go through and see if anybody had anything. And if not, we're going to pull in a couple more spirits. And while we're waiting for that, I am going to put up a quick little thing up here for y'all. So I just want to let y'all know that I have a couple of meditations that are coming up. So you can see them on here. There's a few there that are coming up soon. One's tomorrow at 2 p.m. Meet Your Higher Self meditation that we're going to be doing. That'll be awesome because you get a chance to, tap into your higher self and see what your higher self has for you. And then there's going to be a Manifest Your Dream Life, and then Travel to the Temples of Atlantis. Okay, and now I'm back. Let me get back on here for y'all. Okay, so we're going to tap into a couple more spirits. I want to make sure that y'all don't have any questions before I go into the next. If anybody has a question that didn't get answered, just let me know. So we're going to tap into a couple of other spirits that were coming through tonight. One of them is James Dean. So this is interesting. I don't think I've tapped into a lot of spirits before. I've talked to a lot of them. I don't think I've ever talked to him before. So that was a new one. This is where it gets really weird. So I was kind of pulling in other energies first, which happens a lot. They'll come through and then I'll get another one and another one talking to me. And when he came through, I was writing messages from him, and I was, getting into it. And then as soon as I started to write the message, all of a sudden I was listening to a song in the background, and in the song there was a line about James Dean. And I was like, okay, this is so rare. Like, if that isn't a synchronicity, I don't know what is. Like that, I mean, I have never talked to him before. It just came out of the blue. And so I thought I'd mention that, because that does show that they are really present with us. They're trying to show us in different ways. So if you see something like that, a repetition of something or a name that comes up when you're thinking of somebody, that's definitely showing that they're present. So he talked about how, he said, I'm pretty famous, right? That's what he said. But he says, what is fame but a short car ride? So I thought that was interesting how he worded that and referred to the car. And he says, life takes you for a ride, doesn't it? So he talks about, basically our experiences here can be so up and down and different things. And it just depends on, what your life plan was to come here, what you were planning on doing, what was your calling. And so he was talking about that. And when he said short car ride, I think a lot of that refers to, his life kind of being a little shorter. And he did mention something about that, though. He said that, don't worry about it. When it's over, or is it just beginning? Or maybe time for a new role. So he's talking about how when we go over to the other side, maybe we have different ways that we're going to deal with that. Sometimes we go over and we want to come back right away. Maybe we want to take time and be in that other world and then get prepared for something else later on. There's just a different way that we do that, depending on what our soul path is and what we still need to learn. And maybe if we finished the things that we wanted to do here, that will depend on, what we do next when we get over there. And so the song that I was listening to, the song is called Cool by Jonas Brothers, if y'all want to listen to it. And the line was something like, I'm feeling so cool, woke up feeling like a new James Dean. So I thought that was interesting how that came up. I don't even know if I've ever listened to that song that much before. And the next line, there's another line in there that I thought jumped out. So sometimes in these lyrics, you'll see things, just one little line that like really speaks to the awakening that we're going through right now. And it said, when I grow up, I want to be just like me. So I thought that was very powerful, because we do want to be ourselves. We want to be our own light, whatever that is, to shine in our own way. And so he talks about being yourself, being cool, but don't be too cool to love. Really love. Take the time to love yourself, love other people, connect to your friends, your family members, really allow yourself to feel love in all kinds of ways. Even love of nature, love of animals, love of just helping people just for the sake of doing good. He says, I don't know if I left too soon or too early, but I decided to take the A train. That's what he called it. And he says, I could fit all of my cool, all of my knowledge into my back pocket. But that's because I have the determination to do so. I was determined that way, and always followed that part of me that was hidden or mysterious, but yet profound and luminescent. So he was talking about how he could fit his essence, his persona, his charisma, whatever it was, into his pocket. But technically, it was so much more than that. So he kind of hid parts of himself, and he was a little bit more mysterious, but technically he was a lot more expansive. It's just that he chose to kind of pull out things at different times and not always be everything all in front of people all the time. He says, you could call me a star child, a starlight, or just a light, but aren't we all when we recognize it? So yes, we're all lights, and we're trying to find ways to show that more and to be more of that light. If you have any questions in the chat, go ahead and put your questions in there before we end tonight. And we're talking to spirits about heart coherence, love energy, and how to be yourself, shine your light. So I just talked to James Dean, and he had a lot of cool messages for us. And then another song that came up tonight when I was, tapping into, I was like listening to different music, and it just started to really connect to everything that I was getting from the messages, is I was getting this song by Danny Goki called Haven't Seen It Yet. So this talks a lot about how sometimes you're really wanting something so bad, you're just trying to change things in your life, get things in a better, more positive energy, but you just don't see it yet, like it's not right in front of you. And he says in the lyrics, it says, have you been pouring out your heart for so many years? So think about that. Like if somebody's really trying to do that thing that they're driven to do, they're passionate about, and they're trying for so many years, but it just hasn't really kind of been in the present space of their reality, their manifestation in the physical world. So it's talking about not giving up and just, keep holding on. And like, it's like the brightest sunrise, waiting on the other side of the darkest night. So that, even though you're not there yet, that the sun is still rising and the light is still shining and you're still getting there. So don't lose your hope. As Danny says in the song, don't lose hope. Hold on and believe. Maybe you just haven't seen it yet. See, and that's the key. And that's what they want us to know, is that we are so good at manifesting now. We are so good at tuning into our energy, getting into that heart coherence space between our heart and our brain to bring things in more balanced way to have the things that we really desire. I have a question about, do I call in specific entities or energies? So it's interesting. It can come different ways. Sometimes I could focus on one energy if I feel like I do want to talk to them and ask questions about something. But how I do these events is I basically, the day of, the Friday night, I wait until the afternoon and I just start to meditate with them and just see what comes through, what comes to my mind, what name comes to me, what energy do I feel is present. And I'll just start writing down notes of what that is. And then another one will come in and another one. And so they just kind of start to come in one after the other, and it builds and grows. So I do sometimes tap into specific ones on purpose because I want to talk and ask them something, but I do allow them to come in spontaneously. And what I do find is when they come in groups where they're kind of connected in a way. So they have similar names, similar, energies, ways that they came into the world, messages are similar, things like that. So sometimes I'll get all of the spirits with the name John, or, all of them have passed the same way, or they have the similar roles on the earth plane and things like that. So one thing they do have connected, though, no matter, what spirit I'm talking to, is they all want to emphasize how important it is to connect to love, and that on the other side, it's all about love. So the last spirit that I'm going to talk to right now is Luke Perry. And if you know who he is, he was from 90210. And so I felt like he came in, and I didn't even know he was going to come in. This is very interesting. This happens a lot where I'm not quite sure who all is going to come in. I'm just getting one at a time. And after I brought in James Dean, I definitely felt Luke's presence there as well. And I do feel there's a little bit of a connector there. They had very similar vibes, and so I think that's why he was coming in. But he also mentioned something about being cool. He said, I'm too cool for school. Did I leave too early or leave too late, or did I leave at all? See, so he's trying to say, okay, I may be not in the physical plane in that way that I'm in my body, the way I was before, but I am still with you. He says, I'm hovering around the earth. He says he's in between an existence to help other artists and healers on the earth. So he has been kind of closer to our frequency to help people more, be able to communicate with them more. So he spends more of his time connected to the earth rather than the other side. He goes back and forth a little bit, but he tends to stay closer to the earth. He says he started out as what he calls an indigo child, and then he opened up to a greater love while he was on the earth. And he says he loved animals. He says, I loved animals. And he says he could communicate when he was here. he could communicate telepathically with animals and children. So this is interesting. He said they understood him, and he understood them, and he said they got me. They dig me even, like they understood that I could communicate with them. And he says he still has that ability. Like he may come in to communicate with children in a way too. And he says, this is funny, he started to talk about his experience as being like an actor and in the spotlight a little bit. He said, yes, all the girls and the ladies swooned over me, but that's because I had a presence, a style, an inner charisma, a charm about me. So he's trying to say a lot of it has to do with the way he carried himself, his light, the way that he was like kind of, he wasn't completely like extroverted 100%. Like he would be more reserved a little bit and just kind of let people come to him, and just had his own sense of his style, his presence. He was just kind of true to himself, and then people would naturally come to him. And he says that, he said to fly high, fly higher than the moon. Let your imagination and your heart and your thoughts grow into feelings. Let your feelings grow into coherence. And then that becomes you. Your feelings become you. Simple, really. And he started to call himself, he was trying to be funny, he was calling himself the great wise one because he was talking about this. And he says it's easier to be wise when you are open. So when your heart is open, you tap into your divinity, you tap into this greater wisdom. So you can make decisions in your life based on that bigger picture, understanding where you are on your soul path and how you connect to the collective energy. And he talked about opening your heart more. And he said, you don't have to pry it open. Just let it gently open, like a flower that is blooming and expanding, right? And when it's ready to bloom, then it will open gently, right? And then you will be free to be who you are, that great light. So that's interesting how he brought that example of the flower expanding to show how your heart is, able to grow, and you don't have to force that feeling of what that expansion is. Let's say you've been through something hard and your heart is kind of closed off to things. You don't have to force it. There's a process to open it back up again. And so let it be more of a gentle experience. Don't force it to go faster than you feel comfortable, because if you do that, then you may not open up the right way. You might feel like then you just want to close back up again. And so just let it be more gentle, and then it'll be easier for you to open up and let your energy be free and be able to connect to people and have really good experiences in your life. Does anybody else have any questions for tonight? I think we're going to start to wrap things up, and I will do like a very short little breathing exercise with y'all so we can connect more to this heart coherence and love energy, and see if we can get more balance and feel like we're all like resetting ourselves, because it's the end of the week and maybe we want to have a really good energy flowing so we can go into our weekends feeling more balanced. So just join me for a little bit of a breathing exercise. The spirits are still around us, but they're just kind of interacting with us in a way where they're supporting us and allowing us to really bring in our light fully and completely and be in that balanced place. Just breathe deeply. And if you want to, you can put your hands close to your heart or put your hands over your heart. Take a couple of deep breaths. And as you're breathing in, feel that golden light expanding and growing. Just allow it to fill your heart as though it is a warm sun growing in your heart space. And the light is getting brighter. Continue to breathe deeply into the light. Allow your heart to grow brighter and brighter with each breath. And now that light will begin to spin in a circle, creating a circle of light in your heart. Keep breathing light into that circle as it's spinning. And then as it continues to spin, allow it to grow further and further into your space, providing a place of joy and comfort. This light will transform all energies that need to be released. They will be transformed into love and embraced by the angels. And now they are sending you more light to hold in your heart. And as you go forward in your life, with every breath, you'll be breathing in this golden light. It will reset your energy and connect your heart and mind together in a symbol of infinity looped together, effortlessly flowing with every breath. And all of the magic in your heart will travel in this infinity loop and become present in your life as a great manifestation of who you are. Know that your angels will be working with you to continue to build this light. And grow your heart space to accept more love into your life and to be kind to yourself and others, and to always know that you are all connected. And when you feel love, others feel love too. It is safe to love. It is safe to let your heart expand and grow. Take a couple more deep breaths. Just hold that golden light. And know that you are powerful in that light. You are a great manifester. And you may manifest love every day. Okay, that was a good little breathing exercise to get us back into our heart space. That felt good. That was really relaxing. So those are very simple things that you can do when you are feeling overwhelmed and stressed and just having things happen that is just too much going on and you feel drained, you feel like something's not right. If you feel anxious, anything like that, just take some time, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, to breathe, really get into your breath, release and feel that more. And you can do it outside or inside, wherever you feel comfortable, or listen to music, whatever helps you to do that. But those short exercises like that, if you do it once a day, a couple times a day, will help you to start resetting your energy so your light will shine brighter and you'll feel more empowered and feel like you're making decisions that align with your heart, and you'll be able to use your heart and mind together in this symphony, this synchronization, where things are more effortless and for you and free, and like you feel like if you make a decision, it's the right thing and it feels like it aligns with your heart. So right now, I'm going to share with you again, just real quick. I'm going to show you the meditations that are coming up. So we have these 3 meditations that are coming up. One tomorrow, Meet Your Higher Self. That'll be tomorrow at 2 p.m. You can go to the link here that I have, my Calendly link, or go to my website and you can sign up for the meditation. And then there's another one on Wednesday, the 23rd, that is Manifest Your Dream Life. And then also I have one that is Travel to the Temples of Atlantis, that is on Wednesday, June 30th. And I'm really interested in seeing what happens with that one because I don't think I've done an Atlantis meditation before. So we'll see. This will be interesting. We'll be really diving deep. But all of these meditations, in the experiences, you'll be able to not only get a chance to relax and have a really good meditation, but also you will receive messages. We'll talk about what we experience. If you have a question, you can ask me a question then during the meditation, like right after it, you can ask me a question and we can see what the angels or spirits want to tell you. So that's a good way for you to have more of an interaction with me where you get to ask me more questions if you're interested in that. And then also I have this workshop that's coming up that's on Saturday, the 26th at 2 p.m. It's online. We're going to learn how to connect to angels and your spirit guides. Like I've done this for a while, and I know when I first started, I was learning how to use different clairsenses, whether that was seeing, hearing, feeling, and different things like that. And also just how to, meditate and how to tap in and trust and understand what was coming through, how to understand the difference between maybe an angel and a spirit guide talking to me, or even to know who your angels are and who's working with you. So if you attend this workshop, you'll learn more about what angels and spirit guides are working with you, and you'll be able to learn practical tips. We're actually going to do hands-on things, and it'll be a way for you to take those skills and use them in your life. It doesn't even matter what you want to do with them. You could do that if you just wanted to do it in your everyday life or when you're meditating, or if you're interested in doing more of this work and maybe, tapping more into that energy so you can start to follow your spiritual path more, then you'll get more information from that as well. And then I have other things that are coming up. We'll have more of these Friday nights. Every Friday we'll have them on Facebook. And there's other things that you can see on my website with other events that are coming up as well. So I just want to close it off with thanking y'all for joining. If you feel like you didn't get your question answered, go ahead and send me a message on Facebook. And I always read my messages. And if you still have a question, I'll get back to you if you just had something that was personal to you that you wanted to ask. And then we will continue to do these, and we'll continue to gather the energy. If you join in these, we'll have different spirits come through every week. I also want to encourage you to check out my YouTube channel, because on there I'm uploading a lot of new videos. So there's a lot of channel messages, meditations, and a lot of other things that are coming through. I have a new one about soulmate energy, so you can see what your message is from your soulmate. So go to my YouTube channel, Shine From Your Soul, and check it out so you can see the new videos that are going to be coming out. There's a lot of new content that I'll be putting on there. And like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to put them into my Facebook message through the group, or just directly to me, either one. And you can also email me if you go on my website. You can get my email. I'll answer questions through there as well. I want to send y'all lots of love and have a good evening, and thank you for joining me. Good night, everybody.